NFL Weekly Pickup Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. We're at week 16. And as always, the Grueling Truth is powered by betting.net. Betting.net is your best bet for finding the online casino or sports book that's right for you. Make sure you check them out at betting.net. I am your co-host, Mike Goodpaster. I'd like to welcome in my other co-host, the winner last week, who nailed 12. I had 11. 1981 national champion, Steve Risley. How you doing, Steve?
Doing great tonight, guys. Good to be with you again. Funnest night of the week for me every week.
Now, let me ask you this, Steve. Last
Yeah.
year, the rule was what? If you fell 12 games out, you just got eliminated from the show and were never allowed on again,
It's the
right?
skunk rule, isn't it? Isn't that the skunk rule?
Yeah, and right now,
Like,
it
you
makes...
get set, it's like ping pong, you're up 7-0, it's a skunk.
Yeah, it's like
It's close.
Dan doesn't even try. Or he's just not very good at this. But Dan is 11 games behind Steve. He's 8
Ooh.
games behind me. And basically, Dan is representing the Detroit Lions.
Come
Well,
Dan
back,
Kornhauser. How you doing, Dan?
The thing that was more fearful of me, I listened to him and Sam Teets on the draft show, and here's a guy who's like going 500 in the NFL, and we're going to rely on him to say who we're going to predict is going to be drafted.
Oh,
And
we're
who
like
they
everybody
should
else
draft.
that watches that show, Steve. We're listening to Sam.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, there's only like 2 people listening to it, Mike. I think it's you and me.
Actually, there was a
Hold on.
lot more than 2 people because
Okay.
Dan is, I mean, for his lack of brains, Dan is basically all beauty.
He is a good-looking guy. That's what
I was being sarcastic. Steve's not. I just want to go on record
No,
with
I'm
that.
not a good-looking guy, but I think that Dan is clearly a stud. I think that he goes out to discotheques in Staten Island and gets whoever he wants.
That's it. Steve
I don't
gets
think
it.
he does.
Thanks, Steve.
All right. We have come up to 3 weeks left in the season. It seems like everybody still has a shot at the playoffs except for the Detroit Lions.
Well, Mike, you've fallen 3 games behind me. What are you going to do to catch me?
I'll just outpick you. You've been
I'm
hot.
just going to
I
pick
mean,
from here on out. I'm picking every game you pick.
this is like, you remember Jay Bruce? Jay Bruce, the old Red who or Adam Dunn, either one of them, where there'd be like 1 or 2 months where they'd bat like 700. But at the end, they would still be
Yeah.
batting 220.
Yeah, kind of
That's
like
what this is
Tennessee.
going to be.
Kind of like the Tennessee Titans right now.
Yeah, and we're going to start off. That's a great segue there. We got Thursday Night Football, a huge game. The San Francisco 49ers at the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are 3.5-point dogs right now. Let me know if any of these have updated because they update rather quickly right now because of the
COVID
COVID thing
situation.
going on. But the 49ers are rolling right now with Jimmy Garoppolo, who is a top 10 quarterback right now in the NFL. I don't think anybody can dismiss that. They're playing without a few guys because they always are. But I don't see how the Titans can contain George Kittle here. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. But this is a short week, and the 49ers have to travel all the way to Tennessee here, Dan. What do you think?
Well, one of those things I like to do is I like to eat crow when it's appropriate. I'm not gonna say that Jimmy Garoppolo is a top 10 quarterback, playing like a top 10 quarterback right now, but he is playing very well. The team is playing very well. That defense is stellar. They've been playing out of their minds. That running game is dangerous. Deebo is doing something special. 7 rushing touchdowns. First receiver to do that since like the 60s or something like that. It's crazy. It's really impressive. Kittle is playing out of his mind. Everything is cooking for this team. Tennessee, on the other hand, they're struggling. Last week was ugly. One of my good friends is a diehard Tennessee Titans fan, and I had to hear about it all week. I heard about it today, how this Tannehill, this guy isn't completing passes more than 8 or 9 yards downfield. Everything's dump offs. They have no passing game, which makes sense because A.J. Brown's been out. Julio Jones has been in and out, and they really don't have anything else at the receiver position, and they have nothing at tight end. So, yeah, the struggles make sense, but turnovers were ugly last week. They had 4. They can't be doing that. If they're going to turn the ball over 2 or 3 times against the 49ers, it's going to get ugly, especially if the 49ers are doing what they've been doing. I'm going to go with San Francisco in this one. 3.5 is just about right for me.
All right. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say I'm going to agree with Dan. I go on a limb because of how bad his record is. But when we look at this, I think Garoppolo has been. If you look at him in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games, his quarterback rating only twice has been below 100, and that was 93 and 90. And there's been 3 or 4 times where he's been above 120. I don't think you can make the case that maybe he's not a top 10 quarterback, but I don't think you can make the case that he's not playing like a top 10 quarterback right now.
I mean, if you want to just look at it, I mean, there's off the top of my head, I can list at least 8 guys who right now I would say.
I don't think you can. I think off the top of your head, you'll give me 8 guys you believe are, and at least 3 of them are going to be complete and utter nonsense.
Nah, because it's obvious. It's guys like
Give
Brady.
Brady is playing better. Brady just got shut out, by the way. And I hate to tell you, if Garoppolo would have got shut out, you'd be ripping on him saying they ought to play Trey Lance.
I don't think I would be saying all that. Not quite yet. I'll give Jimmy the benefit of the doubt because how he's been playing. But yeah, no, Jimmy's been playing right. I'm not going to hate. I'm not going to front.
All right, so you got Rodgers, you got Brady. Who else you got?
So Rodgers, Brady, Kyler Murray.
Murray. Wait a second. Kyler Murray didn't play a game for a month, and the game he's played in the last 5 weeks, he was atrocious.
Still, you're really going to take Jimmy Garoppolo at this point over Kyler Murray for the next?
Oh, yeah. There is no doubt in my mind I would take Jimmy Garoppolo every day of the week over Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is a streaky quarterback, and I can tell you this. Last year, we watched Kyler Murray play great the first half of the season, too. And what happened? They fell apart and missed the playoffs. They're not going to miss the playoffs, but they're not going to win that division.
What about Joe Burrow, Herbert, Josh
Herbert?
Allen?
No, I'll take Jimmy G. I'll take Jimmy G over Josh Allen, too.
Okay, Mahomes.
Remember, we're talking about the way they've played over the last 10 weeks, and I would take him over Mahomes. Look at the numbers.
Okay.
I mean, you're looking at 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, a quarterback rating of almost 120 for 2 months of the season. That's not an anomaly. It's not an aberration. I mean, and the guy for his career is like, what, 30 and 11 or 30 and 12 as a starting quarterback? He's went to a Super Bowl. And I think this. I think that if you gave these same numbers in the same Super Bowl appearance at a 30 and 12 record to Kyler Murray, you would be talking about how great Kyler Murray is. But you can't because Kyler Murray has never done this.
That's fine. I mean, if you want to say that, you can say that. I respectfully would disagree with that. And moving forward,
all I know is right now the San Francisco 49ers, the 49ers have a better shot of going to the Super Bowl than the Cardinals do.
I don't know how I feel about that, but it's crazy how things change in just a couple of weeks, because literally 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were having conversations, are the Cardinals the best team in football? Or are they at least the best team in the NFC?
Yeah, but this is the thing. You can still have that conversation because I think even though they got their butts whipped, it's just a one-game anomaly. He hadn't played in 4 weeks. Maybe he comes back and plays great against the Colts and they win, and everything's fine, and they're a serious Super Bowl contender. I'm just basing this off of what I saw last year and the way they fell apart. That worries me if I'm a Cardinals fan. So when I look at this, I mean, Jimmy G catches a lot of crap because he's Jimmy G, and that's about it. You know, the dude, would he have a porn star girlfriend or something? And he was the guy that was supposed to replace Tom Brady. And why do you have to get a porn star if you're an NFL starting quarterback?
Yeah, he's a legend.
That's kind of like going to Goodwill to get a girlfriend. You know what I mean? That right there was a legendary comment, too, I think. Don't you think, Steve? That was good. Getting a porn star is like going to Goodwill to get a girlfriend. All right, Steve, 49ers Titans. Who do you like here?
This is a tougher game than we've talked about here.
I think so, too.
I don't think the 49ers are going to run away with this game. No. I think the Titans have their ass up a sling right now. Colts are hot. They're coming at them. Colts got a very tough game this week on Christmas Day. This game is equally as tough as what the Colts face. And, being only 1 game down now after being 3 games, I just don't see Tennessee having the momentum right now that the 49ers do. I do think Jimmy Garoppolo, I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't want to break our momentum, but I would feel more comfortable with Garoppolo behind our center, behind Ryan Kelly, than I would with Wentz back there. I don't have any problem with Wentz, but it makes makes the Colts very one-dimensional right now because he's not throwing well or not completing a lot of passes. But Titans are going to put up a fight, and they're playing at home. I don't think the point spread's anything. 3.5 points is really nothing for either one of these two teams. They're both offensively minded. But I just think the momentum of the 49ers right now and the out-and-out play of Garoppolo right now is just too much for the Titans to be able to handle for 60 minutes of football. So I'm definitely taking the 49ers.
All right,
And,
next.
the
ahead.
COVID report for both of these teams, nobody's on the COVID report of any note for either team.
Yeah.
They're pretty much good to go on that front.
Bosa scares the crap out of everybody.
He's so good.
He's so good. And I think this guy, he's the one that sat out of Ohio State his senior year, isn't he?
I think so, yeah. Like he got injured or something.
There's two of them, and it's just the one Mike that sat out.
I believe so.
Yeah, and the guy just says, I'm not playing my senior year. I'm that good. And he came into the NFL, and he proved he's that good. And I love that. So I just think the 49ers, I'm going to tell you what, this is a team that could sneak into the Super Bowl the way Garoppolo's playing right now. Whether he's top 10 or not, he's playing the best football I've ever seen this young man play. And if he can continue that, they're a very dangerous football team.
I said that 2 weeks ago.
You're right, Mike. You did, and I'm reiterating what you said.
And Dan made fun of me. All right, next up, the Buffalo Bills at the New England Patriots. This is a titanic matchup between two teams with Super Bowl aspirations. What do you think, Steve? You watched the Patriots get manhandled by the Colts up front. Can they
Patriots are minus 2.5?
Yes, sir.
You're making me go first on this game.
Actually, I'm just going to go in order where.
Yeah, no. That's fine. That's fine. I got it. I'll pull my weight. Bills are in a I have to win situation. That's a great football team.
So are the Patriots now, though.
Let me finish what I was going to say. The Bills have not played up to their potential all season long. But I feel momentum coming in this team. They're understanding the depth of the situation they're in. Patriots are a very darn good football team. They ran into a buzzsaw with Indianapolis, and damn near came back and won that game. I mean, except for a 67-yard run by Jonathan Taylor, that game is a lot less solid or a lot more questionable than would be, and would beat the Colts at Indianapolis. But I'm going to go out here, man, golly darn. I'm going to just go safe and take the Patriots in this game. I think Belichick is the difference in this game. They're solid. The Pats are just a solid football team, and Belichick does not like losing two in a row. And, they have a chance to get in a position to control their own destiny. I'm going to take Patriots.
All right, Dan, what do you got?
This
tough
game
call, isn't it?
Hey, it's tough, man. And this
brutal
game has a lot. It is. And this game has a lot of implications, not only for the
biggest game of the week, I think, right now.
Yeah, it's a big game. It's got a lot of implications, and not just for both of these teams, but also for the AFC playoff picture in general. Because as of right now, the Patriots are the 2 seed right behind Kansas City. And if the Patriots win this game and Kansas City loses this week, the Patriots, I'm pretty sure, would be the number 1 seed right now. And if you have to go through Foxborough playoffs to make the Super Bowl,
don't want to do that.
We know how difficult that is. We know what they do in January. And these AFC teams, the AFC is tough, but these AFC teams are going to have a lot of trouble, and it's not going to be fun to play in New England to go through New England in the playoffs. So, and then on the flip side, if Buffalo wins, I think Buffalo retakes the lead for first place. So this is a first place game for the AFC East. This is a potential game for the number 1 seed, and this is really going to set one of these two teams, either move them up a lot or set them back a bit. If Buffalo loses, they back, and they might fall out of the playoff race altogether if they don't get their act together, because Baltimore's right there, Pittsburgh's right there. There's 5 teams that have 7 wins. Buffalo's got 8. So they got to really handle their business.
8 wins, aren't there? There's like 5 teams that got 8 wins.
Yeah. There's 5 teams that got 8 wins. There's 5 teams that got 7 wins, and it's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be a fight going towards the end.
This AFC's a dogfight right now.
New England -2.5. They're at home.
Is it 2.5?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with New England on this one too. I'm gonna go with the Pats at home.
All right. I think this is an easy game to pick. I don't think it's that tough. I'm going to take the Bills. I think that when you look at this, the Bills are more talented. The issue the Patriots have is they have limitations on everything they can do. We saw it against the Colts. I think everybody forgets about Gabriel Davis. Stephon Diggs, one of the best, if not the best receiver in football. Josh Allen's better than Mac Jones. And just remember, we saw the Patriots beat the Bills a couple weeks ago in Buffalo. The way they beat them is not a way that they can beat them this time. I think Buffalo's too well coached and can do too many other things for New England to come out and play the same way and beat Buffalo. I think the Bills win this game. I think they win it straight up, but I'll take the 2.5 points, and I will feel real comfortable here because I think what we've seen with the Patriots is a limited team with a great coach. The problem with that is the second time you play teams, you don't have as many things to go to, and they kind of know what you want to do. I haven't seen the Patriots where they've been able to come out in a game and throw the ball around the field and win the game. So I think Buffalo will be able to shut them down, and I think the Bills win the game. Next up,
do you
go ahead.
Have any concerns with Buffalo consistencies on offense? And I know they ran the ball well this past week, but normally if Josh Allen isn't running the ball, they're not running the ball as a team. You don't have any concerns like that going against a team like New England?
I don't have any concerns because, like I said, New England, I think, is a solid team. They do things the right way, but I think Buffalo has too much talent here to lose to them twice. I mean, I think if these teams played 10 times, I think the Bills would win 7 of them. So I'm going to go with those odds, and I'm going to go with Buffalo here. I hate picking against Belichick, but like I said, when I look at this, the receivers are better in Buffalo. Josh Allen is better than Mac Jones as of right now. Defensively, the Patriots are much better than the Bills, but I think there's a bigger divide between the two offenses than there are the two defenses, and I think that divide in offensive football is going to be the difference here. All right, next up.
Mike, you make great arguments, and I can't argue with your arguments. I mean, this is a pick'em game, basically. If there ever was one, the points aren't going to matter here because 2.5 is not even a field goal. So, some team's going to win by more than 2.5. That's not it. The only advantage I see to the Patriots, because of the Patriots' strong defense and the Bills' strong offense, is the fact that they're playing in Foxborough. That's the only thing I see different.
Me and you have talked about this before. I think Belichick teams are more dangerous on the road.
Yeah, and you said that, and historically, you've proven that in your picks. And
Bill Belichick's proven that.
Yeah, well, but you've validated Belichick's prowess. So
yes, I validated Bill Belichick, so he feels much better tonight.
I'm trying to pay you a compliment.
I know. I'm just turning it into a joke because you're making me uncomfortable because you're paying me a compliment. I'm not used to that. Go ahead, Dan.
I was saying, actually, Mike, you are 100% right.
My compliment. I had something very profound to say at the end, but
let Steve say his profound thing, and then we'll let Dan.
Let it go. Go, Dan. Go.
Okay,
I'm done.
Go ahead, Dan. Since you interrupted Steve.
I was going to say,
it's not a night to be me. So
no. I would say Mike is 100% right that they're better on the road. They are 6-1 this season compared to 3-4 at home. So Mike's not wrong. I'm just going
over history of I mean, hell, it seems like when they lose, even the championship games. I mean, they go to Kansas City and beat Kansas City to win it. And I remember times where they've lost at home in the playoffs. I remember where you had a field goal kicker for the Ravens miss a chip shot field goal, or they wouldn't have been going to that Super Bowl. And I mean, there's been a couple close calls there. And it seems like when they go on the road, they kind of thrive off of that. Next up, the Los Angeles.
Dan, who's 6-1 on the road?
New
Oh,
England.
the Patriots.
Oh, who did they lose to?
I'd have to check. I don't know off the top of my head, but yeah.
You don't know?
Not off the top of my head, no. Sorry.
You
All
want me
right.
to shove it up your ass? Who they lost to on the road?
It was the Colts, Dan.
the
It just
Colts.
happened.
Yeah.
Jeez.
They lost to the Colts on the road.
Yeah.
How long ago was that Dan doesn't remember it, Steve?
That was
Come on, I
last
can't
Saturday
say
night.
long.
The non-COVID game that wasn't canceled or postponed.
All right, next up, we've got the Chargers against the Texans in Houston. The Chargers are favored by 9.5 points. I guess I got to pick this one first. The 9.5 points would scare me, but this is 10 days rest. This is the Texans. They did beat the Jaguars, so they've got that. The points do worry me here because the Texans seem to at least play hard. They just don't play well. But I'm going to go with the Chargers with the long break. It is coming off a tough loss, though, which does worry me. So really, I think the point spread does bother me some here, but I'm going to take the Chargers, Dan.
I'm gonna go with the Chargers as well. You know how I feel about this team, and I agree with you that 9.5 does give me a little bit of pause. I don't know what it is with LA. They're too inconsistent for me. They like to play like a playoff team one week, then they like to play down to the competition the next. They got to get it together. I'm gonna go with the better team. I'm gonna go with LA.
All right, Steve, agree?
Yeah, I'll take the Chargers for everything you guys have said.
All right.
All right, next up, we have the LA Rams at the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are getting 3 points. The Vikings still have a shot at the playoffs. The Rams trying to get a division lead here. What do you think, Dan?
When I saw this line originally, it was Rams -3. I was a little confused simply because I think the Rams are the better team. As long as Donald's playing, as long as Stafford's playing, as long as Cooper Kupp is on the field, they're at least on paper, they're the better team. And we know how up and down Minnesota can be. But maybe against my better judgment, because this is a Minnesota team that couldn't beat the Detroit Lions, I'm gonna go with Minnesota on this one. I don't know. This feels like one of those games where the Rams might not be quite right. And I don't know if Minnesota wins this game, but it'll be a close one. I'm going to go with Minnesota. I'm just going to do it.
All right, Steve, agree or disagree?
I disagree. I think the Rams, after watching them play last night, they looked enthusiastic. They looked solid. Hopefully they've got their COVID issues starting to clear up. Although I think the Seattle what is their damn football team called?
Seahawks.
I want to say Supersonics, believe it or not.
No, you
That's
wanted to
how
say
old I am.
Mariners. Oh, I
That's
love
how
the
old I
Seattle.
am.
The
I
Seattle
almost said
Supersonics were awesome.
Supersonics.
Hell yeah. Little Jack Sickman, Dennis Johnson,
Sigma,
downtown
Tommy
Freddie
Chambers.
Brown.
Yeah. I think the Rams are playing playoff football right now and get it together. OB3, what's his name?
Obi-Wan Kenobi. OBJ.
OBJ
OBJ3 is
is going in.
catching pretty much everything that's thrown to him. He's not getting thrown to a lot, but he's a guy that can explode a game for you real quick still if you get it to him. So Stafford looked really good last night. And, I'm taking the Rams. 3 points is nothing for the Rams. They're an offensive machine. Donald was all over the place, sacking anything that was moving in the backfield. I mean, he didn't care. If he saw something moving, he was hitting it and taking it down last night. And I think the Rams' front defensive line is just going to wake up. And this team's for real right now. So I'm taking the Rams.
All right, guys, before we get to my pick, not just sports betting. Betting.net compares the best online casinos. Sit back, relax, and play the top online slots, poker, and table games. Make sure you check out betting.net. Dalvin Cook playing in this game, Dan?
Hey, wait, I had a question for you, Mike, on that. Is there a line that you can bet on the NASCAR race at the Coliseum here in L.A.?
I'd assume you can bet on almost anything.
So then you're insinuating that NASCAR is a sport.
No, I'm insinuating you can bet almost anything.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not just sports betting, which means they can do NASCAR, Steve. That was a good answer, wasn't it, Dan?
I like that answer.
Right.
Very good.
All right, so is Dalvin Cook in or out this week?
Dalvin Cook is not on the injury report at all, but Adam Thielen is questionable with an ankle injury, and Hunter, their star pass rusher, was put on IR yesterday with a pectoral injury. So those are two potentially big losses for this team on either side of the ball, but Dalvin Cook is playing.
Yeah, and in the last 3 weeks, they've beaten the Cardinals, they blew out the Jaguars, they beat Seattle. I don't trust Minnesota. I'm going to agree with Steve. I'm going to go with the Rams, but I am going to admit, when I first saw the line, I thought I may take Minnesota, but the more I think about it during the day, I think I'm just going to go with the Rams. All right, next up, Steve. The Cleveland Browns at the Green Bay Packers. This is a huge game for both teams. Green Bay wants to keep the number 1 seed. Cleveland's trying to get to the playoffs. The loss to the Raiders was really tough for them, but let's face it, they're in the AFC North where everybody's within a game with 3 games left, and they all got to play each other. Who do you like here?
This is really a rather easy pick for me. Browns look as discombobulated as the football team there is right now. They got a lot of talent. Nick Chubb is the only thing that's moving on that offense for them right now. Is what's his name? Who's their quarterback? Their star
Baker
quarterback.
Mayfield.
What?
Baker
Mayfield. Yeah. Is he coming back? Is he off the list finally?
No, and they still have like 20 guys on the list. They still have both Baker Mayfield and Case Keenum on the COVID list.
You know, I didn't think Mullins played that bad.
No,
for a third-string quarterback in a situation like that.
No,
and I actually thought he was decent when he played for the Niners. I mean, he's a good backup, put it like that.
And I think Nick Chubb made him better.
Well, anytime you got Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb is going to make a quarterback better, yeah. So I just think Aaron Rodgers is playing MVP caliber football right now. He's leading that team. That team seems happy. They enjoy playing together right now, which is where they weren't there earlier in the year. I don't think 7.5 points is a lot for the Packers, the way they can score. I'm taking the Packers in this one. No problem here for me on this pick.
All right, I agree. This is Green Bay all the way. I think Cleveland gets blown out no matter who they've got. I think Cleveland's a good team, but now you're to the point where they've missed so many guys all year from injury or COVID that even when they come back, you just wonder how good they'll be, especially guys that have been in quarantine, probably working out by themselves. Not the same as playing football, though. Dan, agree or disagree?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Green Bay as well. A big portion of that pick is because Green Bay is just so damn good. And they are right now.
I don't buy that. But they may be the best. They're not that good.
I agree with you, Mike.
I don't see anybody in the NFL that's that good.
No, Rodgers is playing good football, and that's why the Packers are good. It's a one-man show in Green Bay.
Put it like this: not in the AFC or the NFC do I look at that and say, "Well, this is the team that's going to the Super Bowl." I don't see that with anybody. I mean, when we look at Kansas City, that offense does not look like the Kansas City offense of old. Right now, they're getting it done with their defense. It's not that Patrick Mahomes played great against the Chargers. I'll give you that. But overall, for this season, the last 6-7 weeks when they've been on the winning streak, I mean, hell, they only beat the Packers 13-7 without Aaron Rodgers playing. So I think there's a lot of questions when you look at the offense for Kansas City still. This is not Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and all these guys. You just throw them out, and they're scoring 50 points a game. So I don't think that there's any one team in any conference. I mean, Tampa Bay's got all the injuries. The Rams, I mean, you never know what the hell you're going to get with them. On the AFC side, the AFC North teams are all beat to hell. The AFC South, the Colts look really good, but as Steve said, I mean, how far are you going to go if Carson Wentz is going to give you 5 for 13 for 85 yards? I mean, there's so many questions here. I mean, the Buffalo Bills, they've been inconsistent all year. The Patriots are a one-dimensional. They can beat you one way, and that's it. The Chargers, hell, they'll look like world beaters, and then all of a sudden they can't stop anybody running the ball. You know, the fat kid running down the street will run for 150 yards on them in a playoff game. So I don't buy any of it. I'm going with Green Bay for the simple fact that Cleveland just hasn't played well in a while. They didn't play well against Baltimore. They had, a 17-point lead they almost blew. They lost the lead because, Huntley's better than Lamar Jackson. I've been saying that for a year. Everybody, hey, I guarantee you this. You roll your eyes, but as a Bengal fan, I hope to God Lamar Jackson is playing on Sunday. All right, so we've all got Green Bay. Next up, I get to pick first, and it's the Colts against Arizona. Give me a little who's hurt, who's not hurt in the COVID list here.
All right, so looking at the COVID list, at least for the Colts, no one. All right, that's a good start. And on the flip side for Arizona, at least COVID-wise, Rodney Hudson remains on the list. He's been on there since December 16th, so not a surprise, but he's the only one on the list. And as far as injuries go, I mean, the Colts, for the most part, are sitting pretty. I know Rock Ya-Sin and Kamoko Turi are questionable. I think they were just put on the COVID list fairly shortly before we went on the air. But other than that, nobody really injuries-wise. There's a bunch of questionable tags, but those guys are going to play. I'm not worried about that at all. And Arizona is still obviously missing their star wide receiver, DeAndre Hopkins. But James Conner didn't practice. That's something to monitor over the course of the next few days. He's currently questionable. If Conner doesn't play, this running game for Arizona might be very much affected. So we'll have to see how that
the
turns
thing
out.
that really strikes me is I think Arizona's run defense is not very good, especially look at the last few weeks. Jonathan Taylor's going to be able to run the ball. There's no DeAndre Hopkins. I think the Colts win this game, Dan.
I'm going to agree with you, Mike. Indianapolis is on a run. I mean, we don't even need to go to Steve. We know Steve's going to pick Indy. Hasn't picked against Indy pretty much since very early in the season. He's not picking anybody else. There's no reason to. Dude, Taylor is on another level. He's got over 1,500 yards rushing. Joe Mixon is second with 1,094. So Taylor's got, a sizable lead there. He's running away with it. He is so impressive. And even though he got bottled up for most of the game last week by the Patriots, that 67 yard or whatever it was yard run that he ripped off late in the game just shows you how dangerous he is.
Well, okay, hang on. You say he got bottled up. When he made that 68-yard run,
He was at 100.
he still was over 100 yards in the game.
Steve,
before that run came.
Steve, he had 3 yards on 28 carries. They bottled him up. If the Colts go into the playoffs and you tell me every game,
when you're keying on somebody as they were keying on him,
they stopped him. Right. They took him away.
I'm sorry, Dan. I interrupted you. Go ahead. Finish.
My thing is this, Steve.
I apologize.
If Jonathan Taylor,
I hear some static in the background. If you can get that dialed out, you can go ahead and finish your statement. We gave somebody else his chance to talk.
I would say this. If Jonathan Taylor only gains 103 yards a game, they're not going anywhere. In the playoffs.
And the Colts are currently undefeated when Taylor runs for 100 yards. So obviously the recipe to success for this team, give that man the ball, get out of the way, and let your defense do what they've done because they've been a top 10.
But you can't win a Super Bowl that way. You can't win a Super Bowl that way.
You know what? We'll see because, like you said, it'll all come down to Wentz. If he steps up.
Well, if he steps up, then you're not just winning it with a running game.
Well, I mean, I'm step up in the point that have a Jimmy Garoppolo. Don't turn the ball over. Get key first downs. Play smart
He's
football.
done that. And Wentz only has like 3 interceptions
Yeah.
on the season. He's
That's
not
what I'm
turned the
saying.
ball over.
That's the recipe. It's good.
And-
See, I don't know why we got to rip on Jimmy G
Danny, are
again.
you done?
I'm done.
Yeah, Dan, you're done.
Okay, so it's
Go ahead,
my turn.
Steve.
All right. Mike, to you, I would say this. I don't know what's in Wentz's head right now. I don't know if it's that he's in a slump, not playing well, or the fact that you got a running back who's 400 yards ahead of the nearest competitor
How
in
about
rushing
this,
yards in
Steve?
the league. And there's no need to throw the ball if you can have a running back that can get you 170 yards in a game and keep the clock moving, control the tempo of the game. If that can happen, I don't know. I think that if I as a Colts fan, I'm speaking as a Colts fan, if I think that Wentz can still step up and give you, he threw for 300 yards like 3 or 4 games ago. I think it's the last game they lost. He threw for 300 yards.
Coincidentally,
But I think he's capable of doing that. T.Y. Hilton is back and ready to go. They haven't had a need to use these guys. And, we'll see what happens. I think the Colts are more multi-talented offensively than we're believing because so much is falling in the way. That offensive line is the key to all of this. They're all of a sudden busting holes left and right. Now, if they get Ryan Kelly back, unfortunately, Ryan Kelly had a very tragic personal family event happen that kept him out. I don't know if he'll be back to play in Arizona. Let's hope he does. But if he's not ready, God bless him and his family, and go from there. But I don't think the Colts are going to make it to the Super Bowl. But I think they're going to wreak some damage and bash some people up a little bit. And I expect the Colts to win this game. I don't think it's a fluke if they win this game.
No, I think if you're missing
I'm a
James
little pissed
Conner,
off that they're giving the Colts 2 points in this game because I think the Colts should actually be favored in this game. Truthfully,
I agree.
well,
the way
without
the way
DeAndre
Arizona's
Hopkins and James
played,
Conner.
Arizona's 0-2 right now in their last 2 games against teams that they should have drenched.
Yep.
And if they can get out of it, Kyler Murray is dangerous as hell. He's one of the most dangerous quarterbacks in the league because he can light it up on you in an instant. But I think that the way the Colts are managing the field right now with Taylor, they've got that luxury of controlling that clock how they want to control it. And I'm going to say at this point, and I could be dead wrong, Mike, you know better than me because you're a quarterback coach and a damn good one. I think Wentz is just sitting back, moving the chains right now, and putting wins on the board.
I think this, Steve.
I'm taking the Colts in this game.
I think for a quarterback, it's really hard to only throw the ball 13 times.
I think so too.
And I think there's certain guys.
But he's not bitching. He's not bitching.
No, we're not talking about. I'm not talking about him being upset. I'm just talking about there's no real way to get in a rhythm when you throw the ball every 20 minutes, and that is going to be an issue because how many? Look this up right now, Dan. I think it's like 1 or 2. How many guys led the NFL in rushing and won a Super Bowl that year? I mean, Terrell Davis, I think, in 1998 or 99 is the only guy I can think of. That was a while back.
And that's a great question, Mike, and let's find the answer to it. But in the meantime, while he's searching, I'm not even talking about the Colts making the playoffs. The Super Bowl. I'm praying to God the Colts get in the playoffs. They could possibly afford to lose this game, but they can't lose after that. And they still have to go to the Raiders and play, who are dangerous. And then they close out with Jacksonville at home, who beat them in the first game of the year. So
that was last year, Steve.
No, I thought they lost to Jacksonville, didn't they, this year?
No.
I thought they did.
They did.
It was one of their first 3 losses.
No, that was last year. It was the first game of the season.
So Mike, as we're doing this is a good question. As you coaching the Colts right now, what would you do? Would you stay on the shoulders of Jonathan Taylor, or would you slow him down a little bit, take some yards away from him, try and open Wentz up for playing being prepared to play in the playoffs and moving forward and trying to balance out that offense a little bit, because the Colts offense is very one-dimensional right now.
I think if you want to win a Super Bowl, you have to try to balance it out, because at some point, if you play Kansas City, they're going to stick 8 or 9 guys in the box. Eventually, somebody's going to take Jonathan Taylor.
But every team's done that to him lately.
And look at Derrick Henry.
New England did that to him. New England stuck 8 or 9 guys in the box.
And they held him to like 3 yards a carry. And
but he still got 170 yards.
Yeah, because he broke off a 70-yard run when they had everybody.
He still had over 100 before that run.
Yeah,
I don't care, made over 100.
Steve, if New England had an offense like Kansas City, they would have won that game easily. Because if you're only running 3 yards a carry, you're giving the ball to Kansas City too damn much. You're giving the ball to the Chargers too much. You're giving the ball to the Bengals too much. You eventually have to throw the ball. All right, Dan, you got an answer?
I've gone back well over a decade. And as far as leading rushers, guys who led the NFL in rushing, making the Super Bowl or winning a Super Bowl, there's nobody, at least in the last decade plus. I'm going back to
because teams that have
2009 at this point and later.
Hey, like I said, I remember Terrell Davis is the only guy I remember. There might have been 1 or 2 other ones. But the thing is, you fall in love so much with the run that you kind of get out of that. The difference with Terrell Davis was you had John Elway. It wasn't Carson Wentz. And John Elway was older. And John Elway, about as smart as you can get by the time you get to 98, 99. John Elway played long enough in the league at a high enough level. If he's only thrown 15 or 20 passes, he's still going to get your ass, which is why Terrell Davis won the Super Bowl. Right now, head over and see for yourself. Betting.net makes it easy to find all the legal online casinos or sportsbooks in your state. Check out betting.net. All right, where are we at
Mike,
here? Yeah.
Did you know that they're actually putting a NASCAR track inside the LA Coliseum?
That's exciting.
Where the Trojans play football. They're paving a track right now as we speak.
That's awful.
And they're putting that track down. It's going to be a concrete or a asphalt track, I would imagine, not concrete, because pulling up that concrete after that would be pretty hard. But
Steve, do you like that? Do you like that as an NASCAR fan? Do you like that they're doing that?
No, it's a stupid exhibition show-off thing, trying to get some business out of LA is all it is. They can only put 16 cars on the track. They're not even going to have a full field. It's an exhibition race.
Will they sell out the Coliseum?
No, they won't sell out the Coliseum.
Exactly. All right, next
but
up.
The Coliseum doesn't sell out for anything. So to take that away from you.
The Raiders in the playoffs used to sell out.
Well, yeah, that was back in the 70s when it mattered.
In USC,
lately, you can't get, if you can get the Coliseum two-thirds full, you're doing good.
Wow.
You know? Hey, I remember this. The LA Rams, 1978 NFC Championship game against the Dallas Cowboys. They actually blocked off a section so you couldn't see that it was empty. Because the place seated like 100,000 people.
Yeah, it seats 100,000 people. It was built for the Olympics back in actually, they say it's 100 years ago, like 2 days ago, that they actually started constructing the LA Coliseum. So the LA Coliseum,
1932 Olympics.
Yeah, no, 36.
32.
32?
36 was Berlin, where Jesse Owens won the 4 in front of Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, where Jesse Owens went apeshit bananas.
Hold on, Steve. What about, did they sell out, did USC sell out the Coliseum when they had Bush and Leinart and all them?
Not all the time.
Not all the time, no. But, I mean, and it's only because that place holds 100,000.
Well, doesn't every Ohio State, doesn't every Ohio State game get 100,000?
You what? There might have been special games, but on a routine basis, it's just like the Rose Bowl. Rose Bowl holds 90,000. It's 20 minutes from my house. You can't sell it out hardly unless it's the Rose Bowl. But that's the only way the time that UCLA plays their home games there, and it's not even half full for a UCLA game.
All right, let's see. I'll give you.
Sorry for the diversion.
2005 USC against Arkansas, 90,000. 90,000. 92, 90, 90, 92. They were fine with Reggie Bush. But if you go back to other years, there was a lot of times where Notre Dame played USC in 1984, and maybe 50,000 people
Yeah,
showed up.
no, it's just
Wow.
too big of a place.
Well, it's not that it's too big of a place because Columbus, I mean, the big house in Michigan's bigger, Ohio State's bigger, Tennessee's
Yeah,
bigger. But
you're
the
right.
thing you have there is this, though. You have actual loyal fans. USC,
Right here, out
not
here in
so
LA,
much.
there's no loyalty to anybody.
Yeah, it's like the Lakers before Kareem
Except the
went to the
Lakers.
Lakers.
No, well,
there isn't.
not even the
Because
Lakers
before
anymore.
Kareem was with the Lakers,
Really?
they didn't sell out.
Yeah.
I mean, they sold out up until Wilt Chamberlain was gone after 73 or 74. But 75, 76, 77, 78 until Magic got there.
Yeah.
You know, even when Kareem got there, they didn't really start selling out all the
Well,
time. It wasn't a huge spectacle until Magic got there.
And the problem with the Spectrum, or now called Crypto.com, is to get in the damn building for a Lakers game is $200. You know, to walk in, and that's to sit in the nosebleeds up top. You know, so
yeah, and you don't even have. Is Jack Nicholson still sit courtside?
I haven't seen him in a long time.
Yeah, and there's no.
I watch
Barry.
the Lakers games on TV, so
there's no dancing Barry.
I don't watch the Lakers games. Period. So.
All right, next up, the Tampa Bay Bucks at the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers are favored by 11 points.
That's not right.
That is not right. What are you doing here, Dan? I mean, Steve, we let Dan fill out all this stuff for the show one time.
Fairy tales, lies.
Screws it up.
And he's getting paid.
Lies.
And he's
not
getting
paid. No, he's not.
Lies.
He doesn't
Lies
write
and fairy
that
tales.
much
My
yet.
good name is being
Bucks
sullied.
at Panthers. Panthers are getting 11 points, Dan.
This Tampa Bay offense is in trouble. As we know, Godwin is out for the season with a knee injury. That's a huge blow. He had almost 100 receptions. He is their leading receiver, gets key first downs for him. He plays a lot of his snaps out of the slot. And losing Chris Godwin, it's a combination ACL and ACL tear. He's on IR. It's over. Leonard Fournette has a hamstring injury. He's doubtful for Week 16. He's probably out. The big question is Mike Evans going to play? Are they going to get Antonio Brown back? Losing Godwin hurts, but if they're getting Antonio Brown back, he's been out for a few weeks for a multitude of reasons, amongst them having a fake COVID card and an ankle injury. He's currently questionable, as is Mike Evans, also with a hamstring injury, similar to Fournette, although not as serious. So Evans has a questionable, Leonard Fournette has a doubtful. I think Evans has a better chance of playing than Fournette does, but either way, it's really threatening. We might see Tampa Bay running the ball with Ronald, what's his name, Jones, 20 or 30 times. Could get really ugly out there. As far as COVID goes, Rashad Perriman is the only one for Tampa Bay on the list. For Carolina, they got a couple of guys, one of which is Derek Brown. He missed this past game. He's probably going to miss this one unless he comes off the list before Sunday. But those injuries to Tampa Bay do scare me a bit because Tampa Bay is obviously better than Carolina. Carolina's reeling. At this point, they just want to get the season over with. And they don't even know who their quarterback is. Cam Newton sucks. Sam Darnold wasn't any better. And I don't want to.
Sam Darnold was better than Cam Newton, but he
was better, but they weren't winning games. They won the first
sucked.
game.
It doesn't matter.
It's so ugly. But I want to see what goes on with Tampa Bay. But 11, if Tampa Bay was mostly healthy, even without Godwin, if Fournette's playing, if I knew Evans was playing, I'd probably still go with Tampa Bay. They are the better.
All right, Anthony Price says Evans will play, which is stupid. It's a hamstring. I would sit him this week to heal. I agree with Anthony.
Yeah, I agree with him too, because all you need is for Evans to go down, and this offense will be in huge trouble. Antonio Brown is 33, 34. He might still be a solid receiver, but he's not the superstar all-pro top receiver he was just a few years ago. I'm going to go with Carolina in this one. It might go to bite me in the ass because, like I said, Cam Newton sucks.
It makes sense with all the injuries.
Cam Newton sucks. That offense isn't quite right. The defense is really straining. I'm going to go with Carolina.
Yeah.
Even though I think Tampa Bay will still probably win this game.
Yeah, just 11 points is a lot to cover, especially after we watch the Saints just shut them out. Steve, what do you think? You agree with Dan?
Um, 11 points is the only thing I'm thinking about.
Yeah, it's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points.
Especially
Given
with a
the
team that just got
situation,
shut
yeah.
out.
Yeah, and so Fournette's not going to play.
It doesn't look
Fournette
like
is very, very likely to not play. And Levante David is also doubtful. Antonio Brown's questionable. Mike Evans is questionable. Evans is probably going to play, mostly because they don't really have much of an option. Because Perriman's on the COVID list. Like I said, Godwin's out. Brown's questionable. And they're going to be down to what? Scotty Miller and what's his face? Johnson, the receiver they drafted last year out of Minnesota. Tyler Johnson.
Yeah, I got it. Carolina's quarterbacking position is so messed up. It's so messed up.
They're awful.
I almost think it's worth 11 points, and I'm going with Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay it is.
Just made the call.
That's it.
Mike, who you got?
Some sand.
Woo. I got some money because I bet on IU and gave the points. Let's see. Barely got it, though. Anthony's got another comment.
Did you just tell me what the outcome of the game was? Because I'm DVRing it to watch the second half.
It was a game that was a 30-point game at halftime, Steve. I wouldn't worry too much about it.
No, it wasn't 30. It was 20-something.
It was 26, I think. I know. But I was excited because I won. All right, Anthony Price. That's why Tampa Bay needed the first round bye. I'm sorry, Steve. I know it's early, but Tampa Bay won't make the Super Bowl. Too many players can't stay healthy. I think it's probably safe to say right now. But it's always Tom Brady. You never know. Where are we at here? Bucks, Panthers. I'm going to agree with Steve. I'm going to go with the Bucks because of this. I think Scotty Miller's actually pretty good. I think Tom Brady's pretty good. P.J. Walker's horrible. Cam Newton is done. Sam Darnold is Sam Darnold.
Their quarterbacking situation is just...
I mean, this might end up being Bucks 13, Panthers nothing. But
it might be.
Yeah.
It might, yeah.
All right, next up, we have the New York Football Giants against the Philadelphia Eagles, Steve. The Eagles are favored by 10. That's a huge number in a divisional matchup.
Giants at Eagles.
Eagles by 10.
Minus 10.
Now,
you got to be kidding me. What's the injury situation for the Giants? What's their quarterbacking situation?
The quarterback situation is Daniel Jones is out for the season. I think he's got a neck injury or something like that. He's
been out, right?
He's been out, but he's totally
out,
done.
So.
As of Monday, he's on IR. He's done. Other than that, Sterling Shepard was put on IR yesterday with an Achilles injury. And they've got a bunch of guys who are questionable. Barkley, Leonard Williams, Andrew Thomas, their left tackle. But I expect all those guys to play. As far as Philadelphia goes, I'm looking at it right now. Jordan Howard is questionable. Miles Sanders was questionable today. Jalen Hurts. I expect all of them to play. I don't think anything crazy on that front. And as far as COVID goes, the Giants don't have anyone special on COVID list besides Adoree Jackson, who's been on there since December 16th. So that's not new. And for the Eagles, Andre Dillard, backup tackle, was put on there a couple days ago, and Landon Dickerson, their center, was put on there as well, but there's nobody else. Overall, these teams are more or less healthy where it matters.
Yeah. The Eagles are probably going to win the game.
Who hasn't been out for a while.
The question is, can they win it by 10?
Yeah.
Are they going to win by 10? That's the big one.
I think the Giants are in the same boat as the Panthers. Eagles didn't look bad. Was it last night or the night before?
They were playing Washington, who was playing with a USFL quarterback, I think.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. But the Giants may well be, too, by the time it's all said and done. I'm going
the Giants
Eagles
have been for the last 2 or 3 years.
I'll give up the 10 points and take the Eagles.
Eagles, all right.
I'll do the same, but I ain't real sure about it. What do you think, Dan?
I'm not sure about it either.
I'm going to go with Philadelphia as well, just because Mike Glennon is probably going to start again. It's ugly. I know they put Fromm in for a drive, and Fromm looked better in that one drive than Glennon did the whole game. The Giants are a team in disarray, and it's all about the quarterback and the coaching. I don't, at least on the radio station you see around, all the news, all the stuff we see on TV. Everyone wants this team to reset. The Giants are in limbo at this point. They spent a lot of money this offseason, and guys like Galladay and Jackson, and they re-signed Leonard Williams to a fat contract, and they made moves like they were close to a playoff spot or close to relevance, and they were confused. They were sadly confused. It was I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, I know they needed receivers and so on and so forth, but they're butt. And they've been butt this season. Their quarterback's out. They still don't know what direction they're going.
Hey, Dan, let me ask you a question. Have we all picked this game?
Yes.
All right, next up, we've got Baltimore at Cincinnati.
I get excited. I'm in New York. I want to talk about New York
Sam needs to teach. And I'll tell you this, the NBA show I really like because Bobby seems like he knows what he's talking about. I don't know about you so much, but Bobby's pretty good.
I get no love. I get no love here. I get no love on my draft show, no love on the NBA. So what am I even doing on this station?
Hey, I listened to the NBA show last night. It was good.
Thanks, Steve.
I did.
I thought you did a great job on that.
Thank you, Steve. I want you on the sheet. No tomfoolery.
All right. Steve now is looking at
Wait, is that like you don't want me to be no tomfoolery? You don't want me fooling around?
No. I want you on there, and I don't want to hear nothing about nothing. Short of like your wife's birthday or like an anniversary, I want you on the show.
Hey, Dan, did you wish Mike a happy birthday this week?
He didn't.
Oh, my God. It was your birthday, Mike?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? If you would send me a friend request on Facebook, you would know that because it updates it. But I asked you to so I could share your stuff.
I did.
But you never do.
I sent you a text and called you, and
Mike, happy birthday, buddy.
Oh, screw you, Dan. Shut up. I mean, it's too damn late, Dan. That's just infantile. Such a baby. Next up, we have the Baltimore Ravens at the Cincinnati Bengals. This is for control of the
Hey, Dan, it's
AFC
okay.
North.
I only found out because during one of my phone sessions with Wendy, she let it blurt out. So
yeah, well,
she had to get off the line because it was her main man's birthday.
Yeah, as you said,
Nice.
Maine. Plus,
She had to go.
The transgender, big-headed men. Ravens at the Bengals. The Bengals are favored by 2.5. The last time they played, Joe Burrow threw for like 426 yards. That will not change unless Zach Taylor screws this up. I think the Bengals win this game. I think they may win it easy even. My question is, do we get Lamar Jackson or Huntley?
Well, that's a very good question because as of
I'm
right
hoping
now,
for Lamar.
As of right now, Lamar Jackson is still on the injured list. He is listed as questionable for this game with an ankle injury.
So
he may very well not play.
I'm going to say this. If Huntley plays, I think this will be a close game. If Lamar Jackson plays, I think the Bengals win it easy. I still have questions about the Bengals, especially a linebacker. They lost Logan Wilson, who's out until at least the playoffs. John Batchy or whatever it was playing great, and then I think he tore his ACL in this last game. But I think if Zach Taylor takes the road to actually let Joe Burrow throw the ball, I think Joe Burrow will throw for well over 300 yards. I think the Bengals will win the game, and I'll give it 2.5 points. What do you think, Dan?
I'm going to go with Cincinnati as well. Burrow has overall been playing pretty well. I would like to see a little more out of him this past week. He wasn't quite right. It was under 200 yards passing.
So what makes you say he's not quite right?
Well, no. Just this past week, at least statistically.
It's been like that the last 5 weeks because of the play calling. I mean, there's nothing Joe Burrow can do about it.
Is it really the coaching, Mike? Is that all it is at this point?
Yeah, it is. Because what you have is this. Have you noticed Jamar Chase has disappeared the last 6 weeks? Mm-hmm. First 9 weeks of the season, 10 touchdown catches. The problem is now people are double teaming him, triple teaming him, and they stick him outside on the flank, in one position all the time. They never bring him in motion unless they're going to hand him a jet sweep or do some kind of BS play. They have to put him in motion from one side to the other. They cannot let teams just tee off and double team him. If you put him in motion, it makes everybody rotate. The backside safety that's going to double team him is going to get there late. You just created a one-on-one. So, I mean, you put him in motion like they do Tyreek Hill, run him on an out. They got to cover him one-on-one. You run him on a post, this other guy's chasing to get over the top. You just ran by him. And I don't understand why the Bengals don't understand this. And this reminds me of when the Bengals drafted Peter Warrick with like the 4th pick in the draft. And for 5 years, they left him stationary. Marvin Lewis came in 2003, and Peter Warrick blew up that year. Had an awesome season. He had the great game where they upset the 11-0 Kansas City Chiefs, where he returned a punt for a touchdown, caught 2 passes for a touchdown. But the issue I see here is if you're not going to move him around, teams are just going to take him away. The good thing is they've been able to keep winning because T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd are carrying a load. Now you got Joe Mixon, who may or may not play this week, which you got Samaje Perine. I don't know is Chris Evans listed as out or questionable or what?
Well, for the record, Joe Mixon is not on the injury report at all. Not at all. So
they said it was fine, but watching the way he walked off the field, I don't know that he is fine. But
none of their running backs are on the injury.
I'm going to take the Bengals. Dan, Steve, you got something?
No, not at all.
Oh, then why'd you do this?
I was pointing to my jersey.
Oh, okay. I thought that was Brian Evans' jersey. Go ahead, Dan. Who do you got?
I'm going to go Cincinnati as well.
Wow.
For all the reasons you said.
I
as long as Mixon's healthy, boom.
Oh.
All right, Steve. Baltimore at Cincinnati. Teach me a lesson since I made a joke and picked Baltimore.
No, I'm not that stupid.
I think you are, Steve. Go ahead.
No, I'm taking Cincinnati. I think Bengals are just better organized as a football team right now and playing better football. Joe Burrows is very dangerous.
Burrow.
He's a very good quarterback.
You'll know his name after he knocks the Colts out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I probably will. No.
Don't try to start stuff, Dan. Your team's 1-11-1.
No, we got 2 wins.
Playoff jokes about you.
2 wins.
They have 2 wins now.
Oh yeah,
anyway,
2.
No, I fear playing Cincinnati if we make the playoffs. I just hoping the Colts make the playoffs.
Yeah, right now.
So I can watch them one more week.
All right,
that's
Dan.
All. I'm taking Cincinnati.
Dan, Detroit at Atlanta. The Falcons are favored by 3.5.
You know, for the most part, when I've picked Detroit, it hasn't worked out for me. But I'm going to pick Detroit here because in a game of 2 teams that are not quite right, even though the Lions have only 2 wins on the season, they play hard. They play hard for their coach. I think there's something to be said about that. There's a lot of injury problems. There's a lot of injury problems with Detroit. I'm not going to front. I don't know if Swift is going to play. We got a lot of problems in our secondary.
We're spending way too much time on a Detroit-Atlanta game.
Come on. Let me talk about my team, man. But
me and Steve's teams are relevant. Yours isn't.
You're not wrong. My team is never relevant.
All right, Steve, Detroit at Atlanta. Go ahead, Dan. I'm sorry.
I hate you so much.
Go ahead, Dan. That's why you didn't tell me happy birthday. Go ahead, Dan.
I hate your face. No, but I think Atlanta might end up winning this game, but it's not going to be by 3.5. I don't know them winning by a field goal, but I'm going to go with Detroit. Let's go, Lions.
All right, Steve.
Atlanta.
I'm going to go with Atlanta also. Detroit
I hope you guys
won
are wrong.
their Super Bowl last week. So, all right, next up, we've got the Jags at the Jets. Urban Meyer is gone. Who predicted that at the very start of season? The Jets are favored by 2.5. At least they were earlier today, but I know, Dan, the Jets have had a lot of injury and COVID issues. Steve, you'll be picking this one first, so listen to Dan's update.
So the Jaguars have no one on the COVID list. which is not a surprise because Florida's doing fantastic when it comes to that. So good job there. But the Jets, woo, it's ugly. It's so ugly. Michael Carter, the starting running back, Elijah Moore, Elijah Vera Tucker, all were put on the COVID list today. They put 8 guys on the COVID list today. Those were the 3 biggest names. Other than that, it's so threatening overall for this team.
All right, Steve.
Hate it.
Jags at Jets. Jets by 2.5.
I'll take the Jags in the points.
I'll go with the Jags too. Stan.
Yeah. So let's see. So what is it? Jacksonville Jets minus 2.5.
Yeah.
Oh my God. This game sucks. So you both took Jacksonville. You know what? I'm gonna go Jacksonville as well. We'll do it live. Hopefully, Trevor Lawrence doesn't throw 4. Hopefully, Trevor Lawrence doesn't throw 4 picks in this game.
You're never gonna catch up.
It's over. I know. Just let me be.
You're 11 games down.
Yeah.
Let me be.
And we gave him the Jets at home over a Jaguars team. He got beaten by what? Double digits by the Texans.
Jaguars suck. The Jets suck more.
All right, this is mine. Next up, the Chicago Bears at the Seattle Seahawks. Short week for the Bears. Russell Wilson will have a big game. I don't like the points here, but I'm going to take
minus
the Seahawks.
7.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Seahawks minus the 7, Dan.
You go Seahawks. I'm going to go Chicago. I just hope they're not completely useless on offense. I'm going to go with Chicago.
All right, Steve.
Dadgummit. I think this is a tougher game to pick than you think.
No, I think it is a tough game. I just trying to speed things up because Dan takes 10 minutes to pick most games.
I know. I'm going to take the Seahawks just because I like Russell Wilson and I love his wife. So that's my only reason.
Steve. Put it away.
I'm taking the Seahawks.
Who's he married
Although
to?
I think the Bears are going to win this game.
Nice.
But I don't have faith they're going to win it by 7 points.
Seattle's favored by 7.
I know.
If you think the Bears are going to win, why would you take Seattle?
That's right, because it would have to, yeah.
So, it's getting late. Steve?
Yep, it's past his bedtime.
We're going to try this one more time so you don't have to ask to change the pick and be shot down because there's no redos. Chicago at Seattle. Seattle is supposed to win by 7 points. Are you going to take the Bears to lose by 7 or less than 7? Or are you going to take Seattle to win by 7 or more?
I'll stick with my pick with Seattle.
He's got some sand.
But yet you thought the Bears would win. All right, next up. We've only disagreed once, Steve. I can't catch up like this.
That's
next
right.
Up,
it's very disappointing.
Dan. Well, unless I get one right every week, and 3 weeks from now, I'm tied. All right, Dan.
I don't expect to win this. Mike will catch me. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Denver at the Raiders, Dan. Raiders minus 1.5.
Raiders minus 1.5. You know, I'm looking at the injury report, and if I'm a fan, I'm hoping to God that Teddy plays, because if Teddy doesn't play, you're not winning this game. You have no chance of winning.
I don't think Teddy's playing.
I was going to say, no, yeah, I'm looking at it right now. He's out. So
he's out, yeah. He got taken to the hospital under concussion protocol. There's no way he's coming back.
Vegas. I'm going to go with Las Vegas.
They took his damn face mask off and duct taped him to a board. He's not playing.
Yeah, and then Drew Lock came in and played his ass off.
Drew Lock is still Drew Lock. He's still known and privy to.
And you're still Dan, 11 games back on the NFL Pick'em show.
Bobby doesn't agree with you, Mike.
You know what? Drew
Broncos
Lock is the Dan of the NFL. Drew Lock sucks. Bobby's right. Drew Lock is going to throw 2 picks.
Hey,
and they're gonna lose
no, wait a
game.
second. I didn't say he didn't blow. I just said that he played better last week than Teddy Bridgewater. And Bobby Hunt. Your name rhymes with cunt. All right.
Bobby, Dan and I apologize for that statement. That is what. Thank you for
I'm betting
listening.
this from looking at
Thank
Bobby
you
and the
for
fact.
Dan and I.
Hey, from
Thank
the fact
you for listening
the
to
fact
us.
that Bobby has been friends with Dan this long means he's heard a lot worse, lamer jokes.
That is an absolute.
Am I right, Dan?
No, I
very
don't insult Bob
disappointing
at all.
thing
All
to
right.
say.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And Bobby, on behalf of idiot loudmouth Lawrenceburg, Indiana redneck cracker,
I'm from Aurora.
Dan and I apologize to you.
Redneck cracker.
Yeah, redneck cracker.
The saltine.
Yeah,
Racist. I'm offended.
who lets his dogs go out and hunt dinner for him every night and they eat possum stew.
Isn't Bobby Hunt the name of a Kansas City Chiefs Hall of Famer?
No, but it's really close. Bobby Bell.
No, Bobby Hunt, just without the D.
So, Bobby, we apologize.
You can't have the D in.
My God. I got to go partner up with Joe Rogan.
You know what?
I
Really?
I got to go partner up with Joe Rogan.
Hey, Steve didn't get that, did he, Dan?
Oh,
I mean, actually, the D should be in gun. I mean, gun. But all right, let's stop right there because you guys have gone off the rails again.
He's censoring us now.
Look at the beer come through Dan's nose.
I'm good. We're good, guys.
All right, Steve, Denver at the Raiders. Raiders by 1.5.
Oh, God, I want Denver to win, but I want the Raiders to win too, so I'm going to take the Raiders. They're playing at home. And I do not think that Drew Lock I like Derek Carr as a quarterback as long as he stays healthy. Both these teams are in the playoff hunt still at this point.
They're not really.
They're not really, but they are. They are in their own minds. That means they're going to probably try a little harder and say, "Will Carolina or the Jets or the Lions or the Giants?"
All right, Steve. Now you're being like Bobby's bitch there, and you're taking too long.
All right, I'm taking the Raiders in this one, giving up the point.
All right, I'm taking Denver, so I just picked up 2 of the 3 games. I think here the difference here is this: Denver has a damn good defense. Darren Waller's still not playing, right?
No.
Okay, so their biggest weapon's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, Denver's still got a good running game. The Raiders look like crap playing against the Cleveland JV team, and they won it on a 48-yard field goal. I'm going to go with Denver. Next up, Pittsburgh at Kansas City. What is the point spread
Dan,
right
who
now?
did you take? I'm sorry, Dan, who did you take?
He took the Raiders.
Oh, I went with Vegas.
What's the point spread right now in Pittsburgh, Kansas City? Because I know that's the game most affected by COVID right now. Last time I saw it, I think it was down to 7.5.
Well, let's see here.
What's the game, Mike?
Pittsburgh at Kansas City.
So it's KC minus 7.5 right now.
Okay, it's dropped then because you've got mass COVID issues with the Kansas City Chiefs. So, Steve, mass issues with the Kansas City Chiefs, 7.5 point favorites.
Didn't I just pick first?
No. Dan.
Yeah, I did because I took the Raiders. And you said I've got a chance to pick up now. I'm taking Denver.
I picked the last game first, Steve.
Thank you.
Okay,
Pittsburgh and Kansas City, Steve. You are. I mean, you're forgiven.
So hold on. Before Steve
is
picks,
Kelsey playing?
We don't know any of this. They're just COVID right now.
Is Kelsey COVID?
Before Steve picks, I do want to say Kansas City is getting absolutely ravaged by COVID. So as of right now, Chris Jones, Willie Gay, their kicker Harrison Butker, and Tyreek Hill are all the primary players that are on the COVID list right now.
But they can recover from that before the week's end.
They can test
theoretically, as long as they get 2 negative tests back to back before game time, they'll play. But as of right now, Kansas City is right behind Cleveland in terms of COVID cases. It is ugly out there.
All right. I got to go with Pittsburgh and give up the points here. I think Kansas City has a chance to win this game. but I think the Pittsburgh's not going to be. It's not going to be a high-scoring game, and Pittsburgh's playing as good as they played all year right now. I'm going to go with the Steelers.
All right. Before we get to my pick, your top sportsbook comparison site is betting.net. They offer extensive reviews on the best sportsbooks out there. Make sure you check out betting.net. We're going to be tied at least after this week now. I'm taking Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes is still there, and you gave me Chris Jones, but what I heard were mainly offensive players. I think Kansas City's defense can shut them down. The 7.5 points does worry me. I think it makes this game a 50-50 toss-up. If it was 10, I would take Pittsburgh. But, Dan, I'm going to go with Kansas City.
I'm changing my pick.
Nope, absolutely not. That's not how we do it. Nope. You pick Pittsburgh, it's fine.
Actually, I think this. I think it's 50-50, Steve. I just went Kansas City.
No, I do too.
I do too, yeah.
Kansas City at home's tough. They find ways to win at home.
Well, they've
anyway,
also
I made
found
my
ways
pick.
to lose this
I'll
year.
stick with my pick. I made my pick.
It's a 50-50 at 7.5.
Yeah, I agree.
And
At
Pittsburgh
7.5,
very rarely gets blown out.
7.5. I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh as well, even though they didn't look quite right this past week. Deontay Johnson,
screwed.
Their top receiver.
If Dan takes Pittsburgh, I have no chance. He's 11 points behind us.
I am the killer touch. I am the death touch when it comes to these things.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Next up. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
You're the iceberg. You're the iceberg that sank the Titanic.
I'd be so lucky. I'd be more famous.
All right. Next up, Washington, the football team, at the Dallas Cowboys. Who just picked first? Steve? All right, so that's me.
Yeah.
10 points is a lot for a Dallas team that struggled here, but Washington's a mess. I'm going to go with the Cowboys. I'm going to give the 10 points. They played 2 weeks ago, which was 27-20, if I remember. But that was a game that seemed like a lot bigger than a 27-20 game. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go with Dallas, and I'm going to give the 10 points, Dan.
So I do want to start with Washington, at least with the COVID report. So their list is not as extensive as it was for the last game. Last game, they had like 20 players who were on the list, and it was ugly. But now we're down to guys who have been on the list for a few days. The only new addition is Brandon Scherf, their superstar guard. He was put on there a couple of days ago. Other than that, pretty much status quo. A lot of names did come off the list, though. And for Dallas, nobody relevant is on the COVID list. And then for the injury report, pretty much status quo as well. Washington got a bunch of guys who were questionable, but I fully expect them to play. Antonio Gibson, Landon Collins. And then for Dallas, the big question with Dallas I have is Dak Prescott going to get closer to what he was before his injury? Because that defense is right. And it's weird because coming into this year, the offense was expected to be one of the top 5 offenses in the league. Star quarterback, star running back, a couple of star receivers, what has been one of the best offensive lines over the last few years, as long as Tyron Smith is healthy. But the defense is what's been carrying this team recently. The offense has been underachieving, to say it nicely. Zeke Elliott hasn't looked right because he's been injured. The offensive line has been questionable. Dak Prescott hasn't been quite right. But they're the better team. We don't know what the quarterback situation is looking like with Washington at this point.
Hey, Dan, I have a question that pertains to all of this. Who are you picking?
I'm going to go with Dallas.
All right, Steve, who you got?
Dallas.
All right, man. If you want, we can start doing separate shows for each game and let's talk for a half hour about each one, Dan.
Listen, well, talking to Randy today, he said this is a walk away for Dallas.
Okay.
Walk away?
A walk away.
It'll be a blowout.
Yeah.
All right.
Randy said they're partying hard right now with Cuban.
Big Dog Dan, you get to start this one out. The Miami Dolphins at the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are favored by 3. This game has huge playoff implications for both teams.
That it does. And before I make my pick, I want to let you guys know in terms of the COVID list, Justin Coleman is the only name for the Dolphins. He was put on there a couple of days ago. For New Orleans, no special. Juwan Johnson. That's the only guy who's been put on there. I'm gonna go with New Orleans in this one. I probably would have picked Miami because they're hot. They're streaking through the quad and into the gymnasium. They've won 6 in a row, saving their season. But I'm going to go with New Orleans. I feel like Miami is due for a loss.
Well, Miami hasn't beaten the best competition either in most of those situations.
I was going to say, Bob and I were talking about this before the game. And for me, this is a line that's a little fishy because New Orleans isn't that good because their quarterback play is so mediocre. They're the better team.
Hey, why don't we have Bobby on the show in 2 weeks to pick games?
Yo, why not?
Okay, because next week we've got Jesse Cox from Players Best, who will be with us to pick the games because he also said that he lives in San Diego, or his family does, and he's there for Christmas. And he said if Steve's willing, he'll drive up to Steve's house to do the show with Steve.
Fine with me.
Adorable.
Love to have him.
I told him you would love to have him.
We can sit out by the pool. We can sit out by the pool and do it.
Yeah, drink margaritas and play with the dogs.
There
Dan?
you go.
So I'm going to go with New Orleans in this one.
Steve.
I got to go with the Saints in this one.
Ooh, all righty.
Why do you have to go with the Saints, Steve?
He's already went with the Saints.
But why?
Because,
Why do you have to?
Because they're at home on a Monday night.
they're at home on a Monday night, and that town goes crazy. And they're in the hunt for the playoffs, coming off a win against Tampa Bay.
2-game winning streak.
2-game winning streak, and I think Miami's 6-game winning streak or 7, whichever it is. I think it's 6. You're calling it 6, so
6,
it is a farce. It is really a farce. So I don't think that the Dolphins are anywhere near as good a football team as the Saints, nor are they nearly as good coached. So that's why I'm going the Saints.
I like it. Mike?
Well, I guess we're going to have to disagree for a 4th time today, which will make this really interesting. I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
Woo!
Oh, no, that's not a bad pick.
Oh, don't say that, Steve. You just picked the Saints.
I love it.
Now, the Dolphins win streak. You do have a win over the Baltimore Ravens in that at least. But you do have 2 wins against the Texans, the Giants, the Panthers, the Jets, all that.
It's a farce.
My issue is this, though.
2 wins against the Jets.
What did New Orleans score against Tampa Bay to win?
9 points. 9 points.
The New Orleans Saints can't
9
score
points.
points. New Orleans can't score points. All right? Miami, Tua Tagovailoa has played much better over the last 5 or 6 weeks. I think he does have some weapons. The Saints are still playing without an actual quarterback, correct?
They have Taysom Hill.
That's not a quarterback. It's not a quarterback.
He's effective at whatever he does. He's effective.
He's really not, because if he was effective, they'd have scored more than 9 points while they were shutting Tom Brady out.
Yeah.
I don't buy Taysom Hill at quarterback. Jameis Winston's out for the year. This team has issues until they get Russell Wilson next year. This will not change. So I'm going to go with Miami, and that gives us like 4 or 5 disagreements. This could end up being a blowout for Steve.
So as of right now,
it could be you're in the lead where you dearly belong. I would like to see you in the lead.
Oh, shut up, Steve. God.
I don't deserve to be there.
No, Steve, you deserve to be there.
I mean that with all sincerity.
No,
Whatever,
don't give him.
I have a dartboard above my desk, and I throw darts. I have 16 games up, and I just smack it, and wherever it gets closest to.
No, you don't.
On the
Because it
name is
wouldn't hit
who I
the Colts
pick.
every week.
And I pick the Colts every week, no matter what. And I've scored off the Colts pretty much the last 5 or 6 games. So anyway, that's done. I have another question.
Last week too. All right, go ahead. Ask your question.
We're done making picks.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hey, real quick, before Steve's question, betting.net finds the best promotions, offers, and bonus codes so you don't have to. Head over to their website now to take advantage of things like free bets and matching deposits. Steve, go ahead.
my question for discussion, real quick, is MVP. With 3 weeks to go in the league, who do you guys think is the MVP as it sits right now in the NFL?
Who do we think would be the MVP, or who do we think should be the MVP?
Well, it's
Or
not
both.
one and the same. You're right. I'd say, who will win the MVP award?
Who do we think will win, or who do we think deserves to win? Because this all comes down to this. The only way Jonathan Taylor gets it, and you're a Colts fan, you got your Colts shirt on, it's why you asked the question, and that's cool because it's a great question. And with Jonathan Taylor, he's a running back. And if Jonathan Taylor would probably need to go off for 150, 200 yards and beat the Cardinals, he's probably going to have to go off for 150 yards each of the next 2 games or got to win both of them. Because this comes down to, it's a quarterback-driven hype machine. And right now, the favorite has to be Aaron Rodgers. But Tom Brady's lost some weapons. Now, if Tom Brady all of a sudden is throwing for 350 yards to Scotty Miller and guys, then he's back in it. So really, to me, right now, I think that if you were asking me between Jonathan Taylor and those 2 quarterbacks, I would go with Jonathan Taylor. I don't think it's going to happen, but I also think this. I think that the MVP, Colts fans are mad because Jonathan Taylor doesn't get respect. What about a guy like TJ Watt? I mean, TJ Watt and Myles Garrett have completely balled out this year. You're looking at guys that have got 14, 15 sacks. TJ Watt's missed 2 games and got that many sacks. You know, they're forcing fumbles, they're making plays. Those guys don't get included either, Dan.
I'm going to say 2 things about the MVP. One,
So your pick,
like
Mike, would be, you think it should
My
be
pick, it should be Jonathan Taylor.
John Taylor.
But it will be Aaron Rodgers the way it stands now. But I think also this, though. I think that a guy like TJ Watt is why the Pittsburgh Steelers have a shot to make the playoffs. TJ Watt, I mean, when he didn't play against the Bengals beat him like 41-10. Of course, when he did play against them, they beat him 27-10. Not that big a difference, but my point is, guys like
Who's the last
defensive
player to get the MVP? Was it Reggie White?
Lawrence Taylor got it in 1986.
Taylor get it?
And then was it Jim Marshall or Alan Page got it?
Alan Page, 70s. I think, got it, or yeah,
like 1971 or 72.
Yeah, Alan Page got it for the Purple People Eaters.
Only been 2 instances I can remember where a defensive player won the MVP.
Yeah,
Bobby Hunt says LT.
Yeah,
Bobby Hunt.
The last.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
Bobby Hunt is right. 1986, Lawrence Taylor won the MVP. Prior to that was Alan
like
Page for the
72,
Vikings in
73?
1971.
Yeah. See how I nailed that with effortless. You know, Bobby didn't give you Jim Marshall or Alan Page or anybody that played for the Vikings. I gave you Alan Page. So anybody can give you LT unless they're like 12.
And I was going to say, Dan, he was making an effort to try and be nice to Bobby, but
I was being nice to Bobby. No, I was just bringing up the fact that I knew both of them. Bobby only gave you one. Because I'm competitive and everything. Nice to Bob. So.
I knew both of them, too.
Well, no, you suck, Dan. I like Bobby. I watched the show, and I got more from Bobby than I did out of you.
You shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. So, hold on. Mike, so who's your
MVP?
MVP?
Stay focused here, guys.
Yeah. Mike, who's your MVP right now? Taylor?
I just told you, Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor.
But it'll be Aaron Rodgers.
So the last running back, they signed in 2006, 1,800 yards and scored 28 touchdowns. He had 56 receptions.
LaDainian Tomlinson.
Okay.
He was the last running back to win the MVP. 1,800 yards rushing, 28 touchdowns, and he had 56 receptions for 508 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Well, Taylor's numbers are trending that way. He's trending to beat the 1,800. And probably touchdown-wise, he's probably going to be low to mid-20s. Unless he blows it up, he's probably going to be 21, 22. I think that he's the most valuable player when you look what he's done for the Colts. Would be dead in the water without him. Just with the injuries they had, they would probably be out of it. Maybe not out of it because everybody's still in it in the AFC, but they would probably be a 6-8 team right now instead of what they are. So when I look at it, I think that he should be the MVP, but things can change. Aaron Rodgers on Christmas Day. You've got Jonathan Taylor on Christmas Day. Those are huge stages. This is kind of like the Heisman Trophy. Like when Tim Brown would win it for Notre Dame, or a Notre Dame guy'd win it, he'd usually win it on a Saturday night game against USC at the Coliseum, where he'd go off and have a huge game.
Everybody was watching.
Or the guy from USC would do it against Notre Dame, and the whole world's watching. You got a captive audience. I mean, I think this game coming up this Saturday for both of these guys has a huge impact on where this goes, especially for Jonathan Taylor, because you're playing the Cardinals. You're a small underdog in a game is probably a toss-up. If he makes the difference again and they make the playoffs, I think he has a chance, but not a huge chance just because of the way this goes and how much it's skewed towards quarterbacks.
Yeah,
and remember, I think 2006, weren't the Chargers like 14-2 and the number 1 seed?
Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that was the year where they had the Patriots beat, and the guy caught the pass for the first down and didn't go to the ground and fumbled the ball, and then the Patriots got it back and scored and won the game. Because that was Marty Schottenheimer's shot to win the Super Bowl. Because I think if they would have won that game,
they were 14-2. And Marty Schottenheimer was the coach.
And wasn't that like a 17-14 loss to New England?
Let's see. God damn it! Why did it go back? Sorry, my computer sucks.
Don't use the Lord's name in vain, you bitch. You suck, fag.
My computer sucks. I was 14-3. New England won.
All right. So Danny, your pick is.
Go ahead, Dan.
Well, I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers, but he is currently the favorite. He's at plus 125. Tom Brady is second. Jonathan Taylor is third. Stafford is fourth. Patrick Mahomes is fifth.
What are the odds on Taylor?
The odds on Taylor are plus 750.
Oh, dude, I would jump all over that. Actually, I'm going to jump all over that when we get off here. Hell, you bet $10, Steve. You make 75.
Yeah, I mean, betting wise, that's not a terrible bet.
Yeah.
But he would have to do value. He's going to have to do something real
Problem
special.
is, I don't know how to bet. I don't know how to bet.
Hold on.
Well, he's got an account with money in it.
So you know what that means?
We need to teach him how to bet.
That Steve needs to go to betting.
I put money in an account for Mike, so the website wouldn't go under, and I've just been sitting there for 2 years, and I've never betted a penny of it. I don't know how to go call in a bet.
You don't have to call it in; you just do it online.
No, I watch Goodfellas and
how about this,
Bugsy Malone and all that. You have to call the bets in.
What we need to do is do a tutorial. We need to do a tutorial for Steve where he can share.
I do not have a
bookie. How to bet. You don't have a bookie. Most people don't anymore. It's legal in a lot of states. Yeah, actually, I think they're legalizing it in Ohio as we speak, I think.
Oh.
No way.
So. All right. Anyway. Anybody got anything else?
Yeah, I didn't pick.
No.
Well, I figured since you're a Colts fan and you asked a question.
No, actually, I was going to say I agree entirely with Mike. I think that given the nature of you bring out the definition of the word most valuable player, remember the Colts started 0-3. And they didn't get to above 500 until basically 2 games ago. I mean, they were floundering below 500 until they got to 6-6, and then they've won 2 games.
But I'll give you this.
So they won 3 in a row.
If you take Aaron Rodgers off the Packers aren't a playoff team.
No, I appreciate that.
But it might be. That defense is pretty good. I just don't buy
it's a tough call. And I do think that my pick, if it was a blind judgment, it would be Jonathan Taylor, but it's not. And I think at this point it would be Aaron Rodgers. And it wouldn't be unjustified for Aaron Rodgers to get it. He has done for the Packers what Rodgers has done, or what Jonathan's done for the Colts. He's brought their teams into the forefront, and he's carried the bulk of the offense of that football team. Just like Rodgers has done the same thing. You take Rodgers away from the Packers, they're struggling like everybody else is to make the playoffs.
If a running back was going to win the MVP, it would have been last season with Derrick Henry because he was literally
that's a great example. Yeah,
just like Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor is
Yeah.
the engine that drives that Colts offense and that Colts
Right.
team. Derrick Henry was the locomotive for that whole team. Not just
exactly. And if Derrick Henry doesn't get it,
But
you
the
don't
one
see
thing
much hope
Derrick
for.
Henry didn't have was a Christmas night game in Arizona.
Yeah, it like you
Fair.
said though, Mike. I mean, they've got to
And
capitalize
right before
on that.
a primetime game against Bill Belichick and the Patriots on a Saturday night, where he breaks off a 70-yard run or 67-yard run to ice the game. So he has those two things going for him, and a lot of times it's just about the eyes on you and what you see. I mean, the West Coast usually doesn't get ranked as high in college basketball or football because a lot of eyes don't see him playing.
Well,
and
a thing kind of going against Jonathan Taylor a little bit is the Cardinals Colts game is on NFL Network, not on regular network TV.
NFL Network, most people can get. And if you can't get, you can stream it from somewhere. I got it. You got stink bugs where you guys live?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. I hate them. I just had to get one off the screen. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. You can follow Dan at Dan and Bob Talking Sports, right?
That's right. DB Talking Sports. D is in Dan, B is in Bob.
Yeah, it should be BD because Bob is superior to you. All right, you can follow Steve Risley at SRisley34. What was that? That was a lewd motion. No, it wasn't.
There's a stink bug fluttering around.
No, it wasn't. It looked like something you probably do a lot. Why you drink beer. Tell your mom to get the meatloaf ready because this show is
Mom,
in
the
the oven.
meatloaf! We want it now!
And we're getting ready to go home. All right. I'll tell you what, Steve. I'll tell you, the community service you get for this, Steve, is well worth it for what we're doing for Dan. Don't you think?
Yeah, he needs help.
Oh, Dan, I got my hat on backwards so I can look cool. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. I want to remind you this. If you're an Indiana basketball fan, and who isn't, tomorrow at noon, me and Steve Risley will be live talking Indiana basketball. Indiana had a win a little over a week ago against Notre Dame. Followed it up tonight with a game against Northern Kentucky. I can't tell anybody what happened because Steve DVR'd the game.
No, go ahead. Tell him. I mean, I'm just going to technically watch a game for technical aspects.
I was excited. Indiana won 85-67. It should have been worse, but I got lucky.
Well, that's all they won by?
I know, but the good thing is this.
Stunk that up.
I bet Indiana, and I gave 17.5 points.
What was the spread, 18?
They won by 18, so I covered by a half a point and won. There you go. So I'm ready.
There you go.
All right, guys. So check out Steve and I on the Indiana Basketball Show tomorrow at noon. But for now, for Steve Risley, Dan Kornhauser, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.